putting everything across.
If I'd have done that, I'd have never met you.
True.
And you've made my day.
True. I am too.
I would have not met these ladies. You've made my day.
You know, it's
Because you're
just,
cool dudes.
it's just more of a case of like you yourself. I'm guessing you would like children.
I'd love children. Can I just ask one question?
Yeah,
Because
of
I've heard a lot
course.
of it. What do you think about Jesus? Who is Jesus to you guys?
A guy.
Honestly, like through everything that I've seen, I mean, don't get me wrong or anything like this. I mean, when I have read the Bible, when I think about Jesus, doing his miracle, walking on water, giving sight, legs back to the other person, or magically making fish and bread, pop out. Honestly, I think Jesus. There was a person called Jesus, thousands upon thousands of years ago, whenever it was. I do believe there was a man called Jesus, but I don't think that his miracles were what people were saying. I think he was I think he was just somebody born into the gene pool who had more of a bigger view in life. He was, instead of like saying that he gave sight back to somebody or he gave legs, I think medicine or things like that, I think the fish thing, he taught people how to catch properly. He was a teacher, he was a healer, but in not healing sense, like a mystical healing. Doctor, people like that.
Are you objective in your analysis of history?
I didn't ever really pay attention in history. I'm not
Okay. The point is that David Hume, a British philosopher who was an atheist, said that he came up with 5 criteria to look at miracles that happened. That they had to be intelligent people, honest people, they had to be reliable people. So he was an atheist, and he looked, with his 5 criteria, he looked at the 17th century Catholics. There was miracles happening amongst the Catholics in France. And he used his 5 criteria, right? Sorry, 16th century, he was in the 17th century. And when he did that, he said there must have been miracles. But he said, I can't believe in miracles, because miracles don't happen. But wait a minute, his 5 criteria, the miracles stood up to.
No,
Yeah? Let me just finish. You go at the quantum level in physics, you've got the quarks and then beyond the quarks. Things pop in and out of reality, yeah? You don't know whether a miracle could not or could pop into reality. So, what you have to do is go back in history and examine the claim of a miracle. And if you're going to do that, you need a criteria. So I ask you, if you're objective, what is your criteria? Hume had 5 criteria, said that they were miracles, but then said, even though they agree with my 5 criteria, I don't believe they happen because they don't believe they happen. I don't believe they happen because they can't happen. Miracles don't happen. But you can't use that argument because reality, the structures of reality at the quantum level, you don't know whether something supernatural could or could not pop in. So all you've got to do is be open to the evidence, and the evidence is historical.
I am perfect. I am very, very open-minded.
Have you got a criteria, or do you want me to give you a criteria to go and look at what the Gospels say?
I don't really.
To be objective.
I don't really want the criteria.
Well, you need a criteria because you've got to be objective. Otherwise, you're going to be biased.
I'm not trying to be biased.
So let's use secular history. Let's forget the Bible. Let's use secular history. Secular history, you use what is called multiple attestation. What that is, if you have a variety of lines of evidence for a claim in a historical investigation, it kind of backs up the truth of that statement. So Christ died on a cross without the Bible. Using multiple attestation, can we establish that he died on a cross?
Honestly, I do believe.
Josephus.
I do believe that a man called Jesus did die on a cross, but I don't believe it was because he was a mystical man. I believe it's because the people who he was around thought he was too intelligent. They thought his brain was just like. Actually, let me put it this way. Let me put it this way to you. When you see a person with Down syndrome or Asperger's, right? I don't see that as a deformity. I see that as an actually gifted person because some of those people are some of the most unreal and most gifted people I have ever laid my eyes on. I have a friend called Brandon, right? He goes to Berry College and he has Down syndrome, but he plays music like somebody who I have never seen before. That boy is unreally gifted. That's his claim. You know what I mean? I've seen people with Asperger's who are incredibly good at maths, or I've seen people who are incredibly good at reading, writing. Their language skills are absolutely incredible. They can understand other languages better than most people. So, if anything, maybe Jesus was this person. Maybe he had Asperger's, maybe he had Down syndrome, and because of his mind, he was more gifted than others. And I believe that's the reason why he was put on that cross, because people back in those days, did not understand what he had.
Okay.
Because they thought they were scared of someone being smarter than others.
Okay.
And that struck fear into other people.
Your theory might be interesting, but there's one problem. He died and rose again.
He might have not killed him off, you know.
He died and rose again. Okay, so he died.
No, right.
He died and rose again. There's evidence that he rose again.
Right. You might have something about it.
He might not have died. He might not have died.
He might not have died because
In the gospel it says the blood came out with water. That's a medical fact that he died. It's a medical fact that he's dead. That's a medical fact that he died. So the medical fact there in the gospel, he died. Also, enemy attestation. They buried him. The enemy said they buried him.
in a cave where it seems to be quite open.
But if the enemy say that they buried him, in history that's good evidence.
I'm just saying this, but who's to say that somebody wasn't already hidden in that cave to actually bandage his wounds, give him water, give him sustenance, and try and survive?
You Google from water.
I don't.
Google the medical information, and I'm telling you, it's
I don't trust you. I wouldn't trust Wikipedia with an already open can of
But let's assume you're correct in what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right? The evidence is there that he died. I've told you there's underwater. So let's assume that you're correct. What you're saying is, and this is an argument by Strauss, who is a skeptic, doesn't believe what I believe. He said, so if that's the case, it's emaciated Jesus with holes in his hands and blood pouring down, walks into Peter's house and says, the prisoner's not dead, and then they go into the streets and start preaching, getting killed for it. Are they really going to be convinced by a guy who's just like half dead? They're not going to be like impressed with that, are they?
I mean, the time span from when he rose was 14 days.
No, he died. He
Born on Christmas,
he died on Friday late.
So that's 3.
Just on in our time, in Jewish time, it's a different day. In our time, it's a bit short.
A bit short of 3 days.
Yeah.
See, everyone makes perfectly good arguments.
I'll give you a point. Women's testimony was not valuable in the second and first century. First women to see Jesus say that he rose from the dead. He wouldn't start a new religion. The Marys, the 3 Marys, Magdalene. But the point is that these women said they rose from us. If you're starting a new religion, you wouldn't use women at that time. So that's an anomaly for the skeptic to answer why is that. And the thing is that I'm here to tell you that Christ died on that cross to save you. To give you a hope. Your identity, what's your identity? Who are you? Don't answer it, but who are you as a person? I'm saying your identity is that you can be a child of God and know that your status is you're loved by God. And if you know that you're loved by God, you don't have to pretend to be something, you don't have to impress anyone. You can just relax and be yourself. And God wants you to know that salvation and joy.
Just be accepted for who you are.
I was studying ancient history the other day. I was listening to a lecture on philosophy, pre-Socratic. Pre-Socratic philosophy brings us to the morality, how to live. The Greek poets and playwrights were about how to live. The historians like Plutarch and Tacitus wanted to write history about how to live. And if you look at Jesus' life, he washed the disciples' feet. He said, just as I have done this to you.
Like, I have had conversations in the past with other writers where they've said, about tattoos and things like that. Like Jesus, they've said to me, Jesus wants like see physical harm to do, like this. The reason for my tattoos are more of a case of my street mythology, being about myself. Like I have rise and fall in my clothes. People ask me why do I rise and fall? He rose.